Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin. We, the species, I'm in a very upbeat holiday mood because we're on the precipice. It's a great word. We're on the precipice of the 4th of July weekend. And I'm with Julie Laughton. And it's coming live from somewhere, whether it's Newport Beach or Laguna Beach or Beverly
It's
Hills,
just
somewhere.
outside of Laguna Beach. Outside of Laguna Beach.
Fine. That's just fine. Actually, you and I we're completely, totally bi-coastal. I'm here at the Atlantic, and you're there by the Pacific. I anticipated this interview as I do my little monologue, my Johnny Carson monologue. That's what this is. I've anticipated this with vim and vigor. That's an old John F. Kennedy with vim.
Oh yeah.
And I really anticipate that there's a myriad of reasons. There's certain elements of commonality that, and I marvel at the universe for having brought Julie and myself together. And it's quite remarkable because Julie is almost the antithesis of Calvin. I'm not a builder. I'm not an architect. I'm not a designer. You're everything under the sun, like one-stop shopping. We're going to talk about that. The fact you remodel, you design, the architecture, your background and the history and why this is so critically important. You're a woman and you're a general contractor and one of the best. And to teach young, it's endless the things that we're going to talk about. But I was looking at my notes. And I'm kind of a groupie, and I know in your design world you had a chance to work on the Friars Club in New York. Wow. And is it Wallace Neff's house that got into a movie?
Yes. Yep.
Jane Fonda. And it's like, wow, we're gonna talk about all that. So it's Julie Laughton, design build, and you've done a ton of these, but the other two things, the other elements, is one of my favorite movies, as it turns out, was one of Julie's favorite movies, Mr. Blanding's Builds His Dream House, and that's great synchronicity. And the other last piece of synchronicity, I have to say, and then I'm going to turn it all over to Julie, is I've learned such a lesson in life. If you think you want to remodel and rebuild, then just do it. Don't wait. Because why don't you enjoy it now? Anyway, that's in my formal interview. We're with Julie Laughton. She's a builder, custom dream homes, design, general contractor, women in construction. She's done 1,000 remodels and custom homes. A graduate of Iowa State University, live from California. I'm done with my monologue. Julie, I guess the best is take it away, a little background, your the architecture, Iowa State, and your New York thing, and take it away.
Well, I was born with this ability to draw, and I was just sitting with someone this afternoon looking at the paintings I used to do when I was 12. So I was already doing very accomplished oil painting at 12, because before that I started pencil drawing, and I can basically draw anything. So at 12 and 14, I'd mastered oil paintings and impressionistic landscapes, and I switched to mechanical drafting in junior high and high school, and that's why I tested out of mechanical engineering in college. And of course, I pursued architecture, but then I thought, you know what? I need to know how humans function in the space. So then I pursued interior design, but in between those two, I did a couple of years of landscape architecture. So I have a very well-rounded college degree, almost 7 years in college. Wow. And my counselor, after putting up with me for switching my major, sent me to New York City to work for an architect. And the rest is history as far as my career. But that's how it started. Is I was gifted. I went to Iowa State, and my counselor actually got me to New York City. And then, wow, I worked for the biggest developers in Manhattan: Milstein, Goodstein, Leffer, Seckendorf, all of them. It was fun. And we got to do the Friars Club, and I was the first woman in the Friars Club bathroom in the history of the Friars Club.
Wow. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yes, they never let any other women in there, and I had to go check out the locker rooms. And the two little guys that were walking me in, they go, "You're the first woman ever in here."
funny.
It
Did
was
you
funny. And they were like little short guys.
uh, did you love your time in New York? I mean, and you also, and I'm a
Yeah.
groupie, you met some really interesting people.
Yeah. So the thing is, I had a friend. The first night I got there was my first summer. My mom put me in a woman's hotel on 57th and 3rd. And even what's her name, the famous actress, stayed there back in the day, Grace Kelly. It was a woman's hotel. And so I stayed there for the summer. But the first night I was there, the lady, one of the girls down the hall who had a little more experience on the street, I won't tell you what she did for a living, but she took me to Studio 54. And that first night at Studio 54, I lost her pretty much immediately because they let me into the red rope area, the VIP next to the dance floor, which is to the right when you're facing the dance floor and the bar's behind you. So I would get in there, and then I met this friend, which is still my friend today, Brian Hamill. And then he has a brother named Pete Hamill, and Pete Hamill recently passed away. But Pete Hamill took me to dinner one night with Bob Fosse because they needed a date for Bob. So we had a really fun dinner, but that's the night I met Warren Beatty. But there was other actors in the crowd too from the movie Kiss of a Spider Woman. But that relationship with Warren Beatty led to a long, time and more people meeting more people. So it was kind of fun.
Wow. Wow. Do I love stuff like
I mean,
that?
one night at dinner and all those people in one room. It was killing me,
Wow.
Raul Julia was there and William Hurt because they
Wow.
just
You you said William Hurt. I snuck into a movie. I was with William Hurt. That's more commonality for us. Okay, so you did your 5 years in New York, and just before we talk about you going out to the West Coast, the other magnetic thing about you, which is substance for me, is your spirituality, your meditation. If you want to just briefly talk about that, to me, it's a gift
well,
to have that.
it is a gift because I just know that I'm a good listener, and they call me I've had people call me an empath. I feel people's energy. I sense what people are thinking, and that's what makes me a good designer and a good, person as far as giving a service to someone, because as a designer we're servicing the client. So that's the part about me. I think I have extra perception on maybe what people are thinking or feeling. I'm very conscious. But so what I did for me is, because the world's noisy, right? And all my whole life, go 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 go. And so when I turned 50, I thought, you know what, I need to start actually talking about what's going to make me balanced and grounded, because there's a lot of noise, and I did the whole cord cutting, and then I learned to meditate, and I learned to clear and cleanse. So to this day, I clear and cleanse every morning, every night. And I just kind of put a shield around me for protection. But the meditation and really self-awareness, along with gratitude, is a game changer on your whole spirit, because you can't get beat up by the world. You got to protect yourself and be able to thrive and listen to that inner voice, because it's always right. It's all about balance. So that's my thing.
By the way, you said a great word, and not now. We can talk about it some other time. The word gratitude. I'm wrapped up in gratitude. You get to a point in life when you have to be grateful for a lot of things, and grateful to the spirits, and it's part of my life. And that's the other little magnetic thing. You meditate. I do it my own way. Okay, so we got that. So now, what actually got you to leave New York and go to California?
Okay, so what happened after working for all the developers, there was a recession in 1991, and one of my clients was Felix Rohatyn's son, and he lived
Wow.
on Duane Street. So remember Felix Rohatyn? Yeah, it was really cool.
Sure.
I thought, oh my God,
Financial
this
genius.
kid.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And this kid, his son, who was in his 40s, he'd bought a loft on Duane Street, and I helped him remodel it and get it all set up with security. And he was my only client at the time, and I can't remember how I met him, but I'm sure my former bosses referred me to him. So it was just him and me working together, and 3-story loft. And then there was a recession, and there was no more jobs in the model homes, and then the builders had stopped. So one of my buddies from college, the landscape architect buddy, he said, why don't you come visit me in San Diego? And I thought, okay. So I took a plane to San Diego by myself, and I just packed a suitcase. And I sat on the beach with him, or, you know, near his apartment, because I was doing my own thing. And I called, and then I said, you know what? There's no more work. I'll just move here. So I moved without going back to New York, and my sister just UPS my apartment. And I rented a hotel in Hollywood and rented a car and got a job 1 week later. And then I didn't like that job because it was not what I wanted exactly. So then I couldn't find any more work as an architect or a designer that I liked, because I was getting too overqualified, they said. I was getting older for the position I was looking at, because I had too much experience. So then I got a job selling custom kitchens on Robertson Boulevard, which is Beverly Hills. And then I got recognized there and dragged down to Newport Beach to design a showroom. And then that's how I got to Laguna Beach.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Now,
I didn't like living in Newport. I liked the Laguna.
well, to me, they're all the same, but what do I know? Um, you have this title, which and this is kind of a heavy it's a heavy subject. You are a woman who's a general contractor. That's rather rare. So I'm
Yes.
having taught at Rutgers University a few years ago, and having taught career explorations, I'm saying there's a mountain to climb these days to bring your work, your energy, the things you do to a younger generation of women.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that a huge issue? How to get the whole notion of women in general contracting down
Well,
to
the problem is they don't, that there's a fear of being in the man's world still, and they don't consider it a financially good career move. So they, if women were educated how much money they could make and get over the fear that they're not going to be accepted, that would be great. So my goal this year is to be national about the fact, hey, I did it. I'm proof. And look where I am, you know. Or you could just be a project manager and work with a bunch of men, because I know the industry is still tough to stick a woman on a crew with a bunch of men, because it's tough. It's just like throwing a girl in the middle of a ranch with a bunch of cowboys. It's tough. But in business, it's acceptable and it's on the rise, even though there's only 10 to 15% of women in the business. There are women out there with schools and tech training that is all female, and they're really making some progress on having women show this. And I can think of 5 places right now. That one's called the Pink Hard Hat, and she trains women to go into construction, like the labor part, not just the
no?
project management, to actually swing a hammer. So that's pretty cool, but it's getting there. But to do what I did, I don't see it happening again, a lot of it in my lifetime, but I see it's going to happen, but it won't happen as fast as it should.
Okay. Okay. Should colleges be more proactive in at least
Yes,
okay.
that's what it is. Now, this is where, even in high school, start telling kids trade school's okay. You don't need to go be a doctor, lawyer, or a scientist. Do what you want, but trade school is an option to even leave, you know, not, you don't want to leave high school, but you want to leave with information that there's options, because in the old days, trade school was looked down upon. But there's nothing wrong with trade school. You can make a lot of money in construction, even if you are swinging a hammer. Oh my God. And union. So the point is, I think it should start in high school with career places, and it talks to women and men. And there's women like me that they can see that are running crews of men. So and that's what needs to happen, is more awareness in high school. And then of course college. I mean, they should be going to trade school and getting their, or go to get a college degree in construction management, you know,
Okay.
just like restaurant management. There's a college degree for it.
Okay. Taking notes, by the way. You should be
Yeah, if
very
there's more
impressed.
awareness in high.
I'm taking notes because I think it's so critically important, and that this is exposed to young people, because
Yes.
our worlds are changing. And I just want to go off topic for a second, just to
Mm.
because I like to. I have a great question I like to ask. I borrowed it from one of my favorite news personalities, initials BW. Barbara Walters.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I love this question. And you don't have to answer it, it's no big deal, but so excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend the day with.
Somebody I'd like to spend the day with.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'll think I'm funny, but I like Arnold. Would like to spend the day with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look, what an
Hey,
accomplished guy. I mean, you think about his accomplishments as a immigrant and no English, and how fast he excelled in real estate, and then the weightlifting. And he's just impressive because he's so competitive and nothing bothers him. I mean, I'm sure he has, he's had struggles, but I just watched a documentary on him, and I thought it was fascinating story.
I did. I watched it too.
Did you like it?
I watched him lifting weights in the gym at 75.
Yeah,
I
that
watched
was
it
fun.
too. That's so funny. By the way, great choice.
I thought it was an inspiring story, and the guy's got an perpetual positive attitude.
Yep. And you know what? He would have had he been born here, he might have had a very substantial run for a high office.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, truly.
I thought his political career was good. I just find it fascinating, and he's
Great,
a interesting guy.
great answer. Great answer.
Thanks.
Next question. You are so multi. I'm just gonna the whole package of Julie Laughton. The home remodeling, the custom home building. There's kitchen remodeling, interior design, outdoor living design, structural planning, 3D rendering. There is so much to you, and then I have to tell you, I went online, and everybody who's watching will be able to see all the places where they can see some of your work. And seeing some of your work, we're going to talk about certain aspects, but I sit there and I marvel at what I marvel,
Thanks.
and it emotes. Looking at your work and knowing, of course, I'm going to be interviewing you, but looking at what you've done and what you've accomplished, those are beautiful surroundings. But it's to me it emotes and it kind of energizes. So talk a little bit about all that multifaceted elements to you.
Well, I see things probably different than other people because I dream in color, like artists do. And I see things spatially 3D, and I can go in a room and tell you if the painting's not hung to a quarter of an inch. I'm one of those people. I see everything real quick. But my designs are timeless because I always take the design element from something that's historical or that already exists, because there's a reason behind every design, and every design evokes emotion, and every color evokes emotion. So when you combine that all together with the sunlight coming in, the direction the house is facing, and other details to personalize for the client, it creates emotion. It evokes this whole experience, and it's done on purpose, of course, intentionally. And it's supposed to be, at the end of the day, for mine, I like sophisticated, timeless, easy on the eye, something you could live with forever. And then maybe you could repaint, or you could change your sofa, your pillows, but the design itself is solid and timeless. And I don't believe in trendy or temporary. So I like timeless. And, the paint colors come from the stones and the marble countertops. I mean, it all goes together for a reason, because the stone's made by God. I mean, you can't go wrong with the colors. I mean, it's like that.
Okay. I alluded to this in my little monologue. One of the lessons I've learned about life, if you could elaborate just a little bit, because the work you do and maybe the messages and people who will see this and so forth and so on. But to me, there's again, it's just me, but I've lived life and I'm a good learner. There's an overwhelming thing here. If you have any notion of doing, quote, remodeling or building a new home, any of that, just do it. Correct?
Yes, don't wait, because I have so many clients think, oh, I got this house, and maybe they think about the money, but then all of a sudden they say, well, maybe I shouldn't, because maybe in 10 years I'll need to do this, or maybe it'll be bad for the next homeowner. I'm like, what are you talking about? Rip that tub out, move that wall. Let's do this now for you. Get it ready for tomorrow, not 10 years from now, or not next year, or when you're having some party. Do it now, because your life isn't, I think what happens when you learn to meditate and you learn to be grateful, you value every minute. You don't think about the future. You learn to become present. And when you learn to become present, then you do what's good now. So it's kind of that it all comes together. But I always tell my clients, do what you need to do now, because you're going to enjoy this for years. And why wait? Because maybe there's never going to be enough money. You'll always figure it out, because you can always finance and do whatever. But don't wait for that either. Just get it done. That's my philosophy.
Good, get it done. It's funny, I worked for 25 years for the second richest Italian in the world, Leonardo Del Vecchio. And for 25 years I heard the mantra, do it now, do it right. And this comes
I
from
like
a
that.
multi-billionaire. Do it now, do it right. And that's become a little bit of my mantra. So let's talk a little bit about remodeling. Let's say I want to remodel, and how would you go about it? I know you're going to talk about there are 7 steps to the process of remodeling.
Yes.
If
Well,
you go over that.
yep. Yeah, so I have 7 simple steps, which applies to remodeling and building a home custom from the ground up. So I start way at the beginning, because I've just had this happen too, where someone goes out and buys a property, but they don't do any due diligence before they buy it. They don't investigate the soil. They don't investigate the city rules. They don't investigate the state rules. Then all of a sudden, oh, my house is in a landslide area. Oh my God, I can't do anything on this. And then they find this out afterwards, which is really depressing. So my first rule is due diligence on, don't buy the property until you check everything. Meet with an architect, an engineer, a soils engineer, the city, review this, go down to the city, ask questions, because there might be something hidden in that lot that you don't know about, God forbid. If you live near the beach, there's a ton of stuff, a ton of rules. And then the next rule is get your dreams on paper, and never start a project without your plans 100% complete. Don't pick stuff after your contractor starts, because you're guaranteed change orders and delays. And then the next part is, the city process. Make sure you go through the legal city process and pull your permits and all that good stuff. And then the other part is bidding it. Bid it sooner than later, because you want to know what it costs. So when you hire your architect or your designer, get a contractor involved day one. Don't wait until after the plans are done, because what if you can't afford it? Because no one told you the engineering was 3 times the cost of what it should be, because you could have done it a different way on paper if you talked to the contractor. So you got all those 4, and you're done with bidding. And then the fun part is build it. So then you get to the 5th stage, where the plans are done, you know what it costs, there's no surprises, and you actually the contractor pulls a permit and builds it. This is where you should be having fun, not making selections, going to the job, visiting the job, enjoying the process, because it's like birthing a child. You're birthing a home, for the client. And then the 6th phase is go to do your touch up, learn how to use your house, learn about your warranties. Don't wait till something happens, but learn how to use it, take care of it. And then the 7th step is lifetime maintenance. You got to take care of your home, and it's called love your home. And just look at your caulking. And so you got to stop water intrusion, look for caulking, check your roof. But it all boils down to caulking, believe it or not, is the best thing you can do on your house, and repainting once in a while. But that's my 7 steps.
Wow. Now, are they much different? I'm sure they're similar. Let's say I wanted to build my dream house, like Cary Grant did.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're basically similar type steps, because you build new homes.
Yes, it's exactly the same, because in the Cary Grant movie, he would have done, if he would have done his investigation, he would have found out where the water was, and he wouldn't have had to have the guy drill so many times. So he would have found out all this stuff before he bought the old place. You know what I mean? So if you follow those steps, it works for new construction and remodeling and anything you buy, whether it's old or new. So it saves you headache if you do these things in advance. My stuff is all preventative. You want to be preventative. No surprises.
Okay. Great movie. I'm so funny that we both
I
like that
love that
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
I always watch it every few years.
yeah. And you know, anything with Cary Grant, I'm so
Me too. I love his personality. Isn't it funny? And then I always seem to watch him and Katharine Hepburn in the you know, when they had the lion bringing up baby. I keep
bringing up
watching that.
baby. And then the Philadelphia story when
That's my all-time favorite for comedy and
he
everything.
pushes her, he
That is,
pushes her.
yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
I just watched the other day North by Northwest.
I love that. I watched it too again. It was on just the other day. I
Yeah,
remember it.
yeah, yep.
It's one of my sister's favorites too, but
Oh,
the colorization in that and the clothing and Yves Saint Laurent's hair. I mean, my God, everything.
yep. It's funny. There's in Hitchcock, such a great director. Uh, I it's so improbable. It's just it's a perfect movie because
And
it's
I know exactly. It's kind of flawless. I like it.
yeah, yeah. Although there's one scene when they're at the monuments,
Yes, the
and they're in that.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, they're at the monuments there, and Eva Marie Saint pulls out a gun and she's about to shoot him. And about 30 seconds before she shoots him, there's a little boy sitting at a table
Yes,
three
in the
tables
lunchroom.
away, and he
Yes.
puts his hand over his ears because he knows there's going to be a loud noise. Even so, it was a mistake.
Isn't that funny?
It was a mistake, and it always bothers me in the world of Hitchcock, the perfectionist that he was, that kind of stuck out.
Isn't
Whatever.
that funny? Isn't that funny? Yeah, because the kids should have not known it was coming.
Yeah, so be it. Okay, let's talk about and I've looked at countless pictures of your work, and you do much with outdoor remodeling and you create these amazing worlds. You know, rooftop. You've done a couple of rooftop decks, I think I saw.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's like you're so multi.
Well, it's for me, it's all about using the space because, you know, as an interior designer, I'm a space planner. So my biggest concern is utilizing the space. So if you have a roof deck, the one I did in Newport, the roof deck, we actually had to remodel it by fortifying the floor so you could stand up there. So we made it a proper roof deck and then it got a little bigger. So then I built in the barbecue and I built in a custom table and I built in cabinetry and I built in this huge bar so you could have a bartender and couple bartenders and guests or just space to actually entertain. Then I had a sectional sofa and a fire pit. So you can do like 5 things up there at a time or just entertain a large group. And then on the weekends, this particular couple, they invite a little band over, which is a guy and his guitar and his girlfriend who sings. So they put them in the corner and it becomes like a dance floor. So
Well,
that's multi-use spaces. I love doing spaces that are multi-use.
um, in looking at your work and absorbing it, my takeaways, and of course what I've read, is you do timeless architecture and design. Can you talk about that? I mean, there's a whole science of architecture, but what you do is timeless.
Yes, because again, the history of architecture, there is nothing new, right? And everything you design has a meaning or evokes an emotion because of a style. So it's really important to match the style and the history of the architecture with what you're doing with the interior design. So it's seamless and kind of flawless. So it makes sense because some people don't know why they like it. They just know they like it. But I know why, or I should say, what every design means and what style it is. So you can't fool me when someone puts Art Deco with Victorian. You don't do that. But everything, when you know it's a good design, you know the designer or the architect knows what they're doing because they put things together that tell a story that has to do with basically the history of architecture. And certain things go with certain things. So when it's easy on the eye and wonderful to be in, it's because it was done right and probably in a certain style or time period. Because you can't mix stuff. It's weird. You have to stick to a theme. You know, there's modern, there's contemporary, there's clean, but there's also clean traditional, and there's, you know, and then there's a modern art deco, and then there's, you know, then there's something called brutalist architecture, which is all concrete. So, and
Wow.
stainless toilets. So it's funny because there's all these designs. There's nothing new. It's how you put it together, hopefully well. But I focus on what it all means because I'm proud of the end result. The client doesn't know what we're doing. They just know they like it. But I get there by interviewing the client and almost doing flashcards with them. Do you like this? You like that? And we go through this whole process.
Wow.
They don't know what it means necessarily, but with my, you could call it flashcards and having them pull pictures, every one of my client has a style. They don't know they have it, but I make them pull pictures, and after 10 or 20 pictures, they're picking the same thing over and over, and they don't know what they're picking. They just know they like it, and then it translates into the style because I can read the picture what it means. And some people pick modern, some people pick traditional, but the clients, every single client, if you ask them to go through 10 magazines, they'll rip out that same similar style every single time, even though it's a different house. But everybody has a style. They just don't know what it is until you go through the process.
Wow.
So that's a cool part.
Well, that's a very cool part. I love that, the whole flashcard thing. That is so.
Yeah, you got it, because the client doesn't know how to say it. And they don't know what the architecture means. They just know,
Right.
I like that. I like that. I don't like that. I love this. I hate that. And before you know it, they love, 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 love everything. And you finally fine tune it of a process of elimination is how you really do it.
Wow. I just have
Because
to show your people can see it. Your Julie Laughton.
yeah, there you are.
Yep.
Yes.
That's your little logo thing, which I'll have embedded into the video itself. Um,
Thanks.
again,
Just so you know, I'm standing, and in that picture, I'm standing in front of Marlene Dietrich's house in Laguna Beach.
oh wow, is that wow?
Yeah, it was built 1920. 1920. It's
Wow,
gorgeous.
wow.
French Tudor.
The history that you must have, well, the history you have out there. I'm such a groupie. I am who I
Oh
am.
yeah, the Hollywood all came to Laguna. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn's Hideaway Love Shack is up on Alta Vista. Hemingway, not Hemingway, Errol Flynn, where he used to stay in on the hotel off of Manzanita Street is there. I stayed in one of the rooms he stayed in. It's so cool. Yeah, they all came down there on their way to Mexico, and then way before that, it was the 20s silent films were down there too.
Which is a good segue. What are some of your favorite movies, actors, which you already said, Cary Grant?
I love Cary Grant. If you go to the 1928, 29, 30, 30, 31, 32 movies, I like all those movies that are kind of comedies, but yet they're maybe murder mysteries, but like The Thin Man, for example, classic, entertaining, gorgeous clothing. But, anything in the 20s and 30s, there was always the grand homes, I love the 1928, the clothing the women wore. It just very stylized, but that era of time I really enjoy it, but to tell you the truth now, I watch a lot of well-produced movies with action and, maybe grandiose real estate or travel, foreign countries, because, like a James Bond movie, I'm kind of into that when I watch a movie now. If I'm not watching a vintage movie, I like something with style and, good colorization, and like Guy Ritchie has a lot of good movies. I mean, I do watch a lot of action movies, so it's funny.
Hey, listen, it's funny. I get in these moods. I do my Casablanca every 2 months. I need to do
Well,
that.
yeah, there you go. And I gotta have that once in a while. And all of those, I have to have those. But I can watch, what's his name? My favorite new actor. What's his name? Little short blue eyes. It's not the James Bond guy, but the other one.
Tom.
Not Tom Cruise, but close. But the other one. What's the actor we always like? Jason Statham.
Okay. Okay.
you know, but because I kind of want to be entertained and escape with the modern movies. I don't really go for the non-action sappy love story. I'm gonna cry because somebody died. No, I want to watch. I want to be entertained. You know, like Top Gun, all that stuff. I love all that stuff. You know.
Okay, I just watched Clint Eastwood 2 nights ago, The Outlaw Josie Wales, old.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed that. I like watching. And I like some of that action stuff.
I do the action because it's distracting, but I like to watch the filming and take you to faraway lands and all that stuff. Because to tell you the truth, when I do watch TV, half of it is documentaries or kind of real life stuff, or maybe I'll watch extreme engineering and stuff in my business that it's or a true story about something that happened or historical stuff. So it's not always just movies. I kind of like documentaries too. So
Me too. I just watched also Warner Brothers. It was a 4-parter. The history of Warner Brothers, the 100 years of Warner Brothers.
oh yeah, I gotta watch that. I haven't watched that yet.
I think that was Netflix. I think it was Netflix.
I'll
Great
find it.
but they just what an amazing studio, and the fact they took so many chances and went out
Oh
and
yeah, I
went.
mean, you think about, I mean, like Cecil B. DeMille's life story and all the things he did and how everything worked back then and all the way the actors were and everything back in those days, totally different. But anything to do with that history, I eat it up.
Yeah,
Love
me
it.
too. I just loved watching it. And then also a couple of nights ago, I watched a biopic of David Geffen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, listen. I'm a card carrying member of AARP, so I have all this time on my hands, and
Oh, there you go.
I like to make it productive. So I do a lot of documentaries and biopics, and I get a kick out of that. I also watch Clive Davis, his life story, which
Oh
was
yeah, I thought that was fascinating. What a talented guy. Just think of all the work he did and all the stars he made, the people successful with his talent. He's kind of a unique character
really.
between him and uh uh what's his name? The Quincy Jones,
Oh,
they're just yeah,
sure. Yep.
uniquely talented, like wow.
Yeah.
And then and I was watching another documentary about music, and it was the Muddy Waters, the where they filmed like everybody recorded back then. And you think about all the talent behind the scenes for a lot of the famous musicians that you never knew their name, but they did actually all the singing and the recordings. I watched a documentary about that, especially back in the days when the studio Muddy Waters, not Muddy Waters, Muscle
Right.
Shoals, and those guys, and oh my God, I just love that blues and southern um, stuff. But that was fascinating to me that the no names that were really behind a lot of the music. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, fun. So winding down. I also, as I explored your world and the press coverage that you've gotten is outstanding. There's so many different magazines that you've been recognized in. Any of those were your favorites, or
Um, I always liked Riviera because it's right here in Newport, and it's kind of gives good exposure to the homeowners. But there's Architectural Digest, called me Wonder Woman, so that was fun.
it's great.
And it can't get better than Architectural Digest. But and then last week I was appointed ambassador to affordable housing in Orange County by the United Nations Association. So there'll be more press.
That's great. Really, that's great. Last thing, you have your online course that's open and it's available,
Yes,
and I'll have that link for people to see.
thanks.
So we did our thing.
I like it.
Julie.
I like it.
This was great. It was so mind expansive for me, and I'm going to score a lot of points with my wife out there for having done.
Okay, good.
Well,
Say
because
hi.
she's kind of she helped to design our kitchen, which we did a major kitchen overhaul. She helped to
That's a big
design.
accomplishment.
Yeah, so, and the fact that I'm talking to you, I'm scoring lots of points.
I am the kitchen design queen here. I've done a lot of kitchens.
And we have a great, it took a long time to do. I mean, the actual construction of the kitchen out there, very
That's normal.
meticulous, detailed. But my wife was in it 100%, hands-on kind of thing.
Nice.
So, thank you so much for your passion, your energy, for being here, for sharing this stuff with us. To be continued, please come back. Have a
I will.
real